Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm not gonna have a conversation with you. So just talk to me. Why am I here?
Like, that's not how it happened.
That's exactly how
You're
happened.
stupid.
God, you're.
Wait, are we allowed to cuss in this?
That's a patron-only video, so YouTube will not get mad.
Hell yeah.
Play a Role is a proud affiliate of 1985 Games. Whether it's incredible battle maps, amazingly beautiful miniatures, or just general tabletop needs, 1985 is pretty much set for anything that you may need at your table. From dice to dungeon, they have it all, and my personal favorite product in the store right now is the Deck of Stories. It's an incredible deck of cards that you can draw in order to be able to create an encounter on the spot. If you ever get caught off guard or your players inevitably derail the campaign, this is how you can handle it. Just draw 3 cards, put them together, and boom, you have yourself a whole adventure or encounter, and they are honestly amazing and perfect for being able to improvise in your game for those who are less confident in doing so. If you want to support the channel and help out a group that genuinely helps us out a ton, please go check out the link in the description. They're amazing, and I've tested their products personally. They work, and I love them. Enjoy the video. Oh, we're recording?
Okay.
Okay.
You do the intro. Are we doing shots first, or are we doing the intro?
We're doing the intro, then
Then we'll shots.
Okay, got you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Drunk Ramblings. I'm actually going to introduce Micah. You guys should be familiar with him. He does help moderate the Discord. As well, he does a lot of the homebrew stuff. The majority of the homebrew that comes out on the Patreon is him. So, Micah, introduce yourself in whatever way you feel fit.
My name is Micah. I'm Bastardize the Rich on the Patreon server. This feels topical for tonight. Tequila sucks. I'm so sorry if tequila is your favorite drink. You're wrong.
I actually...
It's okay, Micah is also wrong.
No, tequila sucks. It doesn't even taste good.
I agree, actually. I don't like tequila. I will drink it, but not because I like it. Just because it's tequila.
This is a vodka supremacy household.
Yeah, that leads us to the fact that we will be drinking tonight. And on the topic of vodka supremacy, he's drinking...
A brand safe liquid.
Whiskey is a very sufficeable backup.
Sufficeable.
I think maybe that first shot is doing
I
me
thought
in.
you were going to
Oh,
try it.
Come here.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
God, we're going to have to
Cheers.
do so much editing on this. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Fantastic. Ooh.
I heard you slurp that down so loud.
Well, you know, like I said, I don't taste it when I drink it. It goes
Yeah, I
down.
know. I heard the.
I didn't drink it.
Kinda
I
gross.
didn't gag. I did everything I was supposed to.
Why do you even like get specialized versions?
A brand safe
You're
liquid.
not gonna taste them.
Aftertaste.
Oh yeah, the cinnamon. I hate you.
So, today, we're going to talk about some of the stories from our previous campaigns. Micah has been a player in every single campaign that I have run and finished. I am currently running a campaign that he's not technically in, but it is in the same world. So, he knows a lot of the stories we're talking about. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go through, we're going to talk about previous stories from previous campaigns. It's going to be a fantastic time. And we're going to talk about all the stupid shit that happened. Today, we are talking about one of my favorite sessions I've ever run, and that is the ball. So, why don't you tell us what the ball was from a player's point of view, and then I'll do it from a Dungeon Master's point of view.
Okay, so this was in a homebrew world. We had a party of 6. It was a very interesting ball. We were meeting the BBEG for the first time. He had invited us to this ball after we've been corresponding with him through like magical letters that kept burning up on our ship because we stole a pirate ship. So we all went there. It was a ball in the hometown of our fighter and our rogue, and he was the one hosting it. His name was Darathan. He had some kind of prestigious title that I don't remember, honestly.
Well, you guys didn't know the title. At the time, he was just Lord Darathan. Eventually, it was revealed it was Darathan, Demigod of Light. But
It was the voice of light, wasn't it?
Voice of Light was another title he had. If you're to look on his stat block, it says Demigod of Light. I think Voice of Light was something I came up with, and I was like, yeah, I like that a lot better.
Spoiler alert, he was a demigod too. Wait, I can remember this. It wasn't Doing Way. I think that's from a different series entirely. It was the goddess of light. What did her name start with?
A D.
Fuck. I don't remember. What was her name?
Dimitri.
Oh, that's right, because everyone thought she was a man. Dimitri.
But also, on that same note, Duinway was in fact one of the gods in that setting.
Oh, it was? Who was Doing Way the goddess of night?
Duinway was one of the triplets.
Oh, that's right.
Not
Okay.
gonna go into that. Totally different topic.
Yeah. In any case, we all donned our fanciest gowns. We looked as dapper as could be. I was playing at the time a druid that would eventually become a full warlock and bard. 17 warlock, 3 bard. But at the time he was a druid, and we were getting ready to go into it. We knew that the parents of the rogue and the fighter, Venrona and Rayla, were going to be there, and neither of them had seen their parents in many years after the rogue ran away and the fighter went off to go find her. So it was a great time, lots of family reunions. There was dancing, partying, singing, and then a bomb, and everything went to shit.
Yeah, so we'll get into the bomb.
Yeah.
So, to give a little bit of background, what had happened before this is one of the characters was a monk named Andrew. So they had gone to his home monastery, which was on an island, right? And they went there and they accidentally ended up causing some issues for the BBG. And at this point, they didn't know his name. They knew barely anything about him. They just knew there was a person in the world influencing things that was causing problems for them. And so when they caused these problems and they returned to their ship, because they stole a pirate ship, I feel like if you're running a D&D campaign, stealing a pirate ship is a given, obviously.
Not in our current one.
Not in our current. Yeah.
There's no ocean in our current one.
Yeah. But you don't know. An ocean could pop up out of nowhere.
Hold up. Wait a second.
But they went to their stolen pirate ship, and the surrogate captain, who was kind of the person who actually knew how to drive the ship.
Zoe?
Yeah, Zhao.
Love Zoe.
One of my favorite NPCs. But he came up to them and said, we got a letter while you guys were gone, and it was an invitation to this banquet. It was a very thinly veiled threat from the BBG, saying basically, hey, come to this banquet. We've been in each other's business for some time. It's time we got on the same page.
I just remembered. I still have the letter.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's upstairs. I still have the letter.
Do you want to...
It's in like 8,000 boxes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I can go find it after this and we can like post here. Picture. Boom. It's there.
Okay, so yeah, I created a physical letter for this. It was horrible. It was the first prop I ever made, so don't like...
We thought it was the fucking coolest thing. He burned, I'm sure you'll see the picture, but like he burned the edges. He like wrote everything in.
You helped...
Because like we poured coffee on it and stuff.
Yeah, you did. You helped me with that. That's right.
I didn't realize we knew you by then.
No, this was like, that was one of
We've
our...
known each other for almost 4 years.
That was one of our first
Wait.
times like hanging out at all with each other.
And you still fell for this man? So it was a coffee letter. Me not eating today is fucking me up.
Oh, are you drunk? I was gonna say we're not even drunk yet. I'm not feeling it.
I feel it in every inch of my body.
Oh.
The letter. The letter it was cloth, right? Yeah, it was cloth. It was cloth. It was burned along all the edges because in the story it appeared in a burst of flame pinned to our ship's mast. I believe by a magic dagger that Venona later used, right?
She did. Yeah, I left the magic dagger. It was meant to be a threat, but this should make it...
Cracker?
It was, and this should make it... This should make it how clear it is that what a new dungeon master I was. I thought leaving a magic dagger was a threat and not a free gift to the fucking party. And so the rogue took it, and it was enchanted to have a crow constantly following her.
No, it was more than one crow. It was a murder of crows.
Well, yes, but there was... You're right.
Yes,
But there was one crow in particular who she like grew a fondness for.
Yeah, because it was a murder of crows followed her, and later I cast a spell magic. It was a whole process to disenchant this dagger because a herd of crows following the rogue is not necessarily very stealthy. And eventually we got it down to one crow, and then as a druid, I cast Awaken on the crow.
That's right.
Do you remember its name?
I actually do not even slightly.
It was something like Harriet or something.
We'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Put a plug for Lauren's Instagram.
She actually sells really cute. Is this a good time to show her pins or no?
I mean,
Actually, we can edit this out if she doesn't want us to show her pins right now. These are her Inosuke pins. They're super fucking cute. I'm going to be ordering one of each myself.
They're beautiful. I love them so much. She's making more, and they're so amazing.
Yeah, she is the Six of Wands on Instagram. Please go check her out. She's amazing. She's also releasing, I believe, some Sailor Moon pins coming up next.
And she will be featuring some art in one of my videos coming up. So
yeah, she's badass. Follow her.
Oh, that's right. You awakened the crow, and he became a permanent part of the party.
Yeah, and he was actually super fucking helpful. He gave her, I think he gave with the crow constantly as our rogue's familiar, which I didn't really intend to do, but it happened. She had permanent advantage on all intelligence check, and the crow eventually stuck around in a Rakshas's library and learned a ton of shit.
You know what's shocking? I forgot almost all of that.
How could you forget about that?
That's what I'm wondering.
I awoke in a grand total of 2 things in that campaign. The crow and the tree in the bottom basement of our boat.
I remember that. I remember the tree. My God. Actually, I'm really excited for this series now. I'm really excited to see what else I forgot. We'll talk about the boat, because the boat was really, really, really cool. But we're going to get back on track. So, you were talking about the letter appeared. There was the dagger in it. You guys took the dagger, whatever. But the letter.
Yeah, so the letter, it was super cool. It was in this ridiculous font that I think you made. It was Honestly, it was so funny because he gave it to us, and there was about a 20-minute break while we all tried to read it because the font was so outlandish. It was so funny. Back to the banquet. The letter. We received the letter, and at that point, we were heading out of the monastery that our monk belonged to. After all of us but the monk got banned because our wizard tried to fucking bury a dead body in town square. And we tried to play it off as like, oh, it's the plague or something. There was a whole lot that went into that. But we eventually went back to the main country, the elven country, the majority of our party was from, because none of us consulted each other when we made our characters. And we ended up with 2 high elf, a human, a half elf, and a gnome. So we had a fuck ton of elves. I was playing the high elf. And so we eventually went back to that elven country. I then went to, it wasn't their capital, so there was two main cities in that country. There was the capital, which was also the magical capital. And then there was the physical capital, where basically like all the martial classes kind of originated from. That's where the army was trained. And that's where the banquet was happening. We headed back there. We did a lot of investigating for the first 3 days that we're there. It was named Koyan. So we went back to Ilion. Actually, Koyan was where the final BBEG stand-down happened. But in Ilion, we did a lot of investigating. We actually found a Rakshasa demon from my character's backstory.
Great time, great time.
Yeah, that I'm so pissed about this. Our rogue, Venrona, was so suspicious of him because he was shapeshifted at the time from a potion. And my druid defended him. And as we were leaving the shop, he looked back and the Rakshasa was like in his actual form and teleported away. I was so mad that I defended our rogue from killing him and turned back and it was my backstory villain.
I'm starting to think my brain actually cut out portions for me not to remember, because that's such a dick move of me to do.
Yeah, no, it was. Literally, my druid wasted, so at the time we were level 8, and so I used my only 4th level slot for the day to destroy the entire fucking shop he was in.
That's right.
I used Watery Sphere, and you let me, because at the time I was like, for flavor-wise, it was an aquatic druid, so I had like some homebrewed buffs to my water spells, and I just annihilated that shop.
Fuck, I would like to go back in time and pat myself on the back.
Oh my god, I was so mad. He would later to go on to pop up like 8 more times and eventually be a part of the final level 20 battle of our campaign.
Yeah, the final encounter.
Yeah.
Oh, love that character. And he's still alive, which means I get to use him someday, and somehow in some way.
And then during that day, we paid like quintuple rate for a ton of fancy ass clothes. We were like, we need this by tonight. I think we dropped over like 4,000 gold that day on outfits. And then we got them all custom made, and we decided we were going to sneak into the party. So the only 2 people that we could reasonably assume were there, and we were hoping Darethene didn't know were part of the party, were our rogue and our fighter, who grew up in the castle that this entire banquet was happening in. Our bard showed up as a masked individual, as did our monk. My druid wild shaped into an owl to be our rogue's familiar. And then I think our gnome went through the air vents, didn't he?
No, so the gnome, the bard, and the monk all found the entertainment troupe that was going inside.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
so the entertainment troupe all had, like, so basically it was a masquerade, right? Everybody had a different animal-themed mask. All of the entertainment troops all had the same mask. They were all, I think it was lions. And so they met the head of the entertainment troupe, and they decided to perform. And because the bard had an insane modifier in performance, as you do as a bard, and everybody else was giving me an advantage, the head of the troupe was like, yeah, absolutely. You guys are killing it. I think you're awesome. Basically, he stepped forward and was like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You guys have impressed me so much. I would really like to have you in tonight's performance. And so they got in that way. And then the other half of the group, the rogue, the fighter, and you as the druid, went in the other way. And that's how you all got in.
That's right, I remember now. Yeah, it was interesting. Didn't my wild shape get broken?
I don't think it got broken. You were running out of time and you flew into the bathroom.
Oh, that's right. I had an entire bathroom moment where like
There was somebody else in there.
Yeah, I flubbed my perception check, and he was like, yeah, that stall's empty. I went to the one stall someone was in, and I wild shaped, and then there was like a dude in there. It was a really awkward moment.
I distinctly, okay. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember what you said to him?
Absolutely not, but I was probably something bitchy.
No, it wasn't. It was hysterical. You turned into that, and there was this really awkward moment of like eye contact, and you knew your character would never succeed a deception or persuasion check.
That's right. I had a negative charisma modifier at that point.
And so the only way you could convince it was make him so uncomfortable he wasn't going to question you. And so you just stared at him and said, it's a sexual thing. And you went back to being an owl. Yeah. Yeah. You were like, I'm so sorry. It's a sexual thing. She needs me as an ally. And you went back, and yeah, he didn't question you. He didn't say anything. He left. Yeah.
That is absolutely something I would say.
Yeah, I remember just like kind of not sure how to handle that and just losing it for a second, going, I'm not gonna roll. He leaves the stall. And I left it at that. Like I never said anything more.
I, as an owl, was making a shit ton of distractions. Our fighter shoulder checked the punch bowl, took out an entire table of refreshments, and Venrona had like a 30 plus on her sleight of hand.
So basically, for the first time in D&D history, the plan went off without a hitch. They killed it. They got that necklace. They got it to the buyer. It was a whole under the table thing. I do remember that there was a larger plot that went on with it, but I don't think you guys ever got involved. You didn't know what went on with that.
No, only Venrona did, because that was her introduction to the underground, right?
Yeah,
She becomes the
yeah.
Lady of Koyan.
So the reason they were stealing that is because the person who owned it was able to prove they're part of a noble bloodline, and so it was used as a coup in the Beast's lands. So yeah, no, total political upheaval over there because of that. But not
bad.
that you guys knew about. So you guys got that, but in the meantime, they were trying to find the BBG, Darathan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking all over for him, and then the king came out. The king in this giant lion mask. He spoke. And immediately he was speaking with this large bravado. And he made it very clear that there was somebody he wanted to introduce. And
Yeah, I remember that. Gaston had previously been framed for an attempt on the king's life. Yeah.
Yep. That was part of your backstory. And this person you wanted to introduce became strolling through the crowd. They were wearing a bright blue gown. They had a peacock mask. And they made specific eye contact with Rayla. And so immediately you guys knew, like, hey, we probably have found our guy. He walked up to the stage, and during this time, there was something happening known as the convergence, which was where the three moons in the world were lining up exactly with each other on this night. And you all had come to this conclusion that whatever they were doing had to have to do with the convergence, and the BBG was about to do something, and he'd invited you all as a display of power to show what he was going to do.
Ooh, because at this point, I remember we had an entire, during our 3 days in Koyan, we had snuck into someone's office and interrogated someone's assistant.
Yeah.
Probably traumatized her, very sad for her. But we learned that he was doing something to take control of politicians.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Somehow he was charming politicians. You guys have spoken to Maori specifically. Maori was the
Head wizard of Koyan.
Yeah, the mayor, head wizard, leader of the trade city, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so you guys knew this was happening, and at the same time, the wizard, the bard, and the monk were performing. They were performing the entrance theme to him coming up, and the bard wanted to use the one ability nobody ever fucking used.
Counter charm.
Exactly. And so he started to use counter charm to protect the people in the crowd. And then he was what is it called?
College of Eloquence.
No, he wasn't College of Eloquence.
Yes, he was.
No, College of Eloquence was not out at this point. He was the
College of Glamour.
Glamour.
My bad.
Yes. He was the College of Glamour, and they have an ability where if they perform for a certain amount of time, they can charm someone, right? Mm-hmm. And so he tried to charm this peacock individual heading up to the stage. And he did so, and I rolled with a giant dice in front of everybody so that they would know what the roll was. And he rolled a 3, I think it was, or something very low that made it clear there was no way he was going to make the DC. And he jumped off the stage, the bard did, and said, "You need to leave, somebody's coming for your life." Or he walked up to him and said, I don't remember, but basically he told him, "You need to leave, somebody's going to threaten your life." And because he was charmed, the individual turned and walked away immediately, knowing that they were in danger, and thus the entire encounter was saved. Do you remember what happened after that?
He broke the charm somehow, but it wasn't the reveal he got when the Claymore happened.
It was not actually, he didn't break the charm at all, because he was a decoy.
That's right.
Yeah, the head of the entertainment troupe who had been speaking with him and brought them in was actually Darathan underneath the mask.
I remember that, yeah.
And so when he turned around and walked away, Darathan walked up onto the stage and waved his hand and said hello, and it made it clear immediately that almost everybody in the room was charmed by him the whole time. And he asked them all to step away from your party. So like it revealed all of you in the crowd.
Yeah, no, I remember that because me and I believe it was Rayla and Ander, our fighter and our monk, all made perception checks, and we clocked 3 who weren't charmed by him. There was the portly tiefling woman.
Yes.
There was the masked muscular woman, and then there was Maori.
That's right.
Those were the 3 who weren't charmed.
You saw Maori. You didn't even know the tiefling was a tiefling. She just looked like a portly woman, and the reason was because she had her tail wrapped around her midsection underneath her dress. And then there was the muscular woman who was there with the tiefling woman.
Yeah. That was such a good reveal.
Oh, that was really fun. So what happened was he looks across the crowd. He asks everybody, because he has charmed almost the entire group, to step away from the party. And backing up, I wish I had talked about this earlier, but backing up, the party has a friend, a little tiny goblin named Leto. So Leto was found, if anybody's run the Lost Mines of Phandelver, there's a goblin you can find who you can befriend named Droop. Most people do befriend him. However, the party renamed him Leto after he asked for a new name, because Droop was basically a mean name given to him by the bullies. And he had followed the group, he had learned his own skills, he'd become an artificer, and he'd become creating magic items for the party. And the fighter, being the paranoid person she was, decided to ask him, I need a contingency plan if this goes wrong. And he said, I got it. Just think. And he built her a bomb. Not only did he build a bomb, I rolled a D100 to see how well he built this bomb, and rolled 100, which I told them when he built it. This is, he rolled a 100. So this is special for one reason or another. So the party has this bomb. The fighter has the bomb. And while this is going on, and the BBG begins to make his big, grandiose speech, the fighter says, I throw the bomb in the trash can.
There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, that was her form of a distraction.
I remember all of us were like, that's a horrible idea. Choose even a better one. We were all like,
yeah. And so I rolled a D100 to see how well the bomb went off. And I don't remember the exact number. I remember it was in the 90s. Which means this bomb, which I had already rolled a D100 on, was going to go off as well as it could. So it basically just incinerated half the room. It just blew out the wall and gave the group the perfect chance to escape. Tell them how you escaped.
all hell broke loose. So one of the remaining walls of the room was completely destroyed, and everything broke loose into absolute chaos. Our monk, bard, and wizard began to flee from the stage because they were still directly next to the BBEG. Our fighter began to charge the BBEG because she was the tankiest, she had the sentinel feet, she was the only one that could realistically keep him from chasing us. And we had previously discussed that the wizard would come back for her and dimension door her. And I don't remember what Monroe was doing. She was up to some kind of sneaky shit. I derailed the entire counter. Okay, so to preface, we were still very new to D&D.
Very new. This was the first game we'd ever played, so.
Yeah. I cast the 4th level spell, Conjure Woodland Beings. And I had previously, as a last contingency, I had Googled that spell and been like, hey, what are some good uses for this spell? And I found out you could summon 8 pixies with it.
Some of you know where this is going.
So I summoned 8 pixies with that spell, because I believe it takes a minute to cast, and I had been casting it throughout the entire process. As soon as things started to go wrong, I began canting.
Again, new dungeon master. I had no clue that spell casting created noise and sound and lights and stuff. So yeah, I was like, yeah, you can just start casting it. Sure.
Yeah, well, all this was happening. I was casting it. So I summoned 8 pixies, and I was like, okay, make 8 saving throws against polymorph. And it actually came down. He made the first 7, and on the 8th pixie, he failed with an @1. And that's when we learned what a legendary resistance was.
Yep. He legendarily resisted, and I will forever have this in my head. I said he legendary resisted, and I just remember something else. We'll get to it. But I said he legendary resisted, and you said, what is he? And I was like, oh, yeah. And then 2 turns later, you reminded me you were concentrating on another spell while casting Conjure Woodland Creatures.
Oh, that's right, because
You cast Fly or something? I don't remember.
No, because as all hell broke loose, we knew our single priority was to get Maori, the leader of Coin, out, because he knew the most about Darathan.
And he was not charmed.
Yeah, and so I turned to our rogue and was like, can you get him out? And she was like, not by myself. And so I was like, okay. And I cast Polymorph on her, which was the spell I concentrated on.
Right, and then you concentrated on woodland creatures, and we had to...
It was a whole mess,
yeah.
But I did turn her. I had a compendium that someone had made online of polymorph creatures, and I saw one with a really high fly speed. It had flyby, so it contained opportunity. I turned her into a Quetzalcoatl, and he was like, "What was that?" So I showed him a stat block, and he was like, "Sure." We didn't know that was a dinosaur at the time.
I thought it was a dragon. Okay, let me make it incredibly clear. This is an important lesson for Dungeon Masters. It was the next round, you told me, hey, this is a dinosaur. I don't know if I can make it into this. And we made some retcons. Like, we made it work. I don't remember exactly what we
made
did.
some rolls because actually earlier in the day I had been to the library and had looked up a book on creatures so I could wild shape into them.
That's right.
And he had me roll, and it was in the book.
And this is an important lesson for Dungeon Masters. I had him roll. He rolled high enough to say, yes, I've seen a Quetzalcoatl. And in that moment, I had to decide that dinosaurs did exist in this world. Now, this led to me creating a whole adventure, a whole entire land where dinosaurs existed that they never went to.
I voted for it.
I wish they had.
Voted for
it. Would have been great. But it's an important lesson for Dungeon Masters. If your players imply that something exists in the world and it doesn't break anything, let it happen, because it makes it more interesting. It's more fun for everybody. But yeah, Quetzalcoatl's, I guess they existed, and he managed to turn somebody into one. But the pixies disappeared.
Yeah, we're gone. After throwing 8 entangles at him, he didn't even need to make a legendary resistance. He just made all those saving throws.
Another lesson, don't let your players summon 8 pixies.
Don't
do it.
let your players summon
The spell says the Dungeon Master gets to choose what monsters are created. Don't let them summon pixies. Anyways.
But yeah, so I turned our rogue into a Quetzalcoatl, and she flew off with this Maori individual, and we all had to escape. But I think at that point, the portly woman now turns tiefling. The muscular woman, both of them had made an appearance into this fight. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, so the portly woman revealed that she was portly because her tail was wrapped around her. And she was actually a tiefling cleric they had met earlier in the campaign. She was she was a cleric of
Who was one of the other triplets? It
yeah,
was the boy
Duanwei, Yenwei, and
Dimitri?
No, Dimitri was a dead god. I want to say Uenwei, but that does not sound correct.
No, that's correct. It was Uenwei.
Uenwei?
It was Uenwei.
I want to go back in time and kick my own ass.
Yeah, I hated those names.
That's a terrible name. But Uenwei was a goddess that she was the cleric of, and they had met her before. And she was there at the party, at the banquet, because she knew something else was wrong. And so she revealed herself to fight this horrible BBEG, but she realized she did not stand a chance. So she looked to her friend, the muscular woman, and told her to go take care of something else. And she began making stealth checks. Over the course of 6 different rounds against a BBEG with a passive perception of 22, she succeeded on her stealth checks over and over, trying to sneak up on him. And over the course of these rounds, the BBEG realized he wasn't going to catch the party, and so instead, he turned on the mother of the rogue and the fighter. Basically, as a fuck you, I'm going to kill your mom.
Yeah, because that was the muscular woman. That was the big reveal. She got her mask, and it was...
Yeah, exactly. And so, basically, he's going to kill her as a fuck you, look at this, I'm going to kill your mom because you ruined my banquet. You didn't let me be cool. Basically.
Mm-hmm. At this time, I think it's also important to mention, we did find out there was one person in the crowd who was not charmed by him. It was his ally. I don't believe we ever learned her name because she died too quickly.
Which one? Which one was it?
The one that blinded their mother. Remember her? She was a spellcaster.
She was a spellcaster?
It wasn't Jezinar.
It was not Jezinar. It wasn't Nero.
There was a third one that was a part of that trio that we killed that night.
There was a third... I may have to go review my notes because I actually don't remember. I don't remember specifics. What I do remember is she was the cleric who cast clone on all his other friends. She was the reason they could keep him up.
Yeah, she was the reason we had to kill Nero like 6 different times across that campaign.
Yeah. I don't remember the specifics of her.
Yeah, but
I do remember writing down that she escaped. You guys never fought her, so she was still out in the world.
I thought she died that night.
No, you guys killed Nero. Nero, by the way, who was a monk who was helping out the BBG.
We'd previously fought him like 3 times and killed him each time.
But no, you never fought her because you never encountered her after this.
Oh, that's right. But in any case, she blinded our Rogan fighter's mother, and then our Rogan fighter proceeded to 1v1 the BBEG for 3 rounds while blinded, and kept making absolutely insane dice rolls.
It was one of those moments where like dice rolls really dictate the story. She should have died, and she did not. And the fighter, so the rogue was gone at this point. She'd taken Mario and run. The fighter turned around, saw this happening, saw the BBG ready to kill her mother, and made the decision to leave her mother behind for the greater good. And it was at this point that the tiefling, who had made 6 rounds of successful stealth checks against a 22 passive perception, finally made it to the mother, who she was partnered with, and ran forward, wrapped around her, gave...
Not partner like that.
No, not that yet, but she was a partner with her. And she runs forward, wraps her hands around her, gives a middle finger to the BBG, and casts Dimension Door. and is gone. And that's actually why, like, in the fight where you guys actually ended up fighting Garathan, he never cast Counterspell once. It's because, like, in that moment, I decided he didn't have Counterspell. So the Tiefling gets away with the fighter. The party gets away, and the BBG cannot follow them.
We have to tell them each method we got out from.
I don't remember, honestly.
Oh, I do. I do.
This was a 9-hour session, by the way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
our fighter polymorphed as a Quetzalcoatl, flew away with the wizard. Not our party wizard, but Maori the wizard. Our fighter proceeded to... We had 2 potions of flight. Cast the fly spell on you. Our fighter drank 1 and began to fly away. And it was left... We had the wizard, the druid, and the monk left. The bard eventually got out because... Bard got out because I believe... He had a one-time spell scroll use of Dimension Door.
Yes.
That's how he got out. But he was cornered by the BBEG, so he wasn't able to take anyone with him. And so our wizard said, I'm a rock gnome. I have advantage on stealth checks in rocky terrain, and ran off. And so our druid gave the flight potion to our monk. Our monk drank it, and our druid hung on to his waist as he proceeded to fly away. At this point, we were flying away, and the bard had ended up on top of a building, and he hopped on our fighter's back, and we were flying away, and Nero, the monk we previously mentioned, showed up. We had an entire spell-slinging combat across 3 different rooftops.
Yeah, of which he was, like, catching spells because he had a specific item that let him do that. It was a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, but eventually it came down to our fighter was a battle master, so she threw a dagger at him with a pushing attack, pushed him over a balcony. I ice knifed him on the way down, and he hit the ground and survived with 2 HP. And our bard yelled, "Fuck you!" and cast vicious mockery.
It wasn't even fuck you. I remember this distinctly because I will never remember the shame of one of my main antagonists dying from the bard looking back and going, "Boy!"
Oh,
And
that's
that
right!
Fucking killed because he vicious mockeried him, failed the saving throw. It didn't even matter that he failed the saving throw. He was on no health. Fucking died from boy. And you all flew away. Now, mind you, the wizard was still stuck in the city. And as you are all flying away, this magical, weird, glistening cloud began to erupt from where the BBG was. And you thought it was Cloud Kill at the time.
I did, yeah.
But it was actually a divinely amplified, massive mass charm person that charmed everybody in the city. And that was where the session ended, with you guys flying away.
That was a trip. We would later go on to meet our monk, change characters to a sorcerer. We met him in the next session because he was wheelbarrowing out our wizard.
He had found the wizard unconscious and put him in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Because people flying away, this dude was hiding. He put 2 and 2 together to bring them back to their party. That was a whole session.
It was one of my favorite sessions.
Yeah, it was good. We also, this is in your apartment at the time, I remember Lauren brought like
Masks.
Party City masks.
Yeah,
we all wore masks. We looked ridiculous. Your roommates were judging us hardcore.
It was so fun.
And that was a good ass session.
And I distinctly remember you guys like having a blast leaving, and then the next day I got a message from almost every single one of you saying, "Hey, did we lose? I feel like we lost." And it was so funny to me that it took like a whole night for you guys to be like, "I don't think we won that session." but honestly, the fact that you guys technically lost but had so much fun made it like the best session possible for me.
I think there are only 2 other sessions that contend with like memorability for me. One being our final fight with Darathan.
Yeah.
Where we then, because at the time we were only level 10, and it was revealed that he was not the BBEG when we defeated him.
No, it was just the halfway point.
Yeah, we fought him and a Kraken at the same time. And then of course, the second to last session of our entire campaign, where we fought Tiamat as level 20.
Yeah, that was my favorite session. Will always be the very last session you guys had. But
yeah, the very last session we had was absolutely, because at the time we had adopted a barbarian that we actually met the night of the banquet.
we'll talk about Hazel sometime.
Pitchfork girl, yeah.
I love her.
But yeah, that final session where we had to go through all of our resurrection rituals and convince some people to come back. We did not succeed on all of them.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, we lost a lot of people, and then we got to decide where our characters went from there.
Yep.
That was a rough session.
But the banquet session. It was a good time. Absolutely loved it. This is gonna be a pain in the ass to edit.
As a pro tip, go give your players a masquerade session.
Do it. No fucking context. Masquerade. Do it.
There is like a grand total of 3 sessions you must have in every campaign. 1 is bathhouse, and 1 is masquerade.
Beach session.
Yeah, that's the 3rd one. Beach
Yeah,
session.
yeah.
I couldn't get there yet. Masquerade. please give your players a masquerade. Make it known that there's an enemy in the crowd. They'll have a completely amazing time.
So anyways, thanks for watching. I'm so sorry for the absolute chaos of this, but you literally signed up for a drunken rambling. So thanks for watching. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you, Micah, for joining.
Of course, at least this wasn't your first impression.
Yeah, it was your first impression. Bye!
I feel drunk, so we're gonna see how this ends up. Bye!
A huge shout out to all those divine bastards over on our Patreon that helped make this video happen. I'd also like to take an additional very personal thank you to BKVW, Diet Blue, Duplicolor, Malcadil, I hope I pronounced that right, Sassy Cat Productions, Sorit, Supreme Court, Tin Eye, and Void Mystic. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without our patrons, and we are very thankful for your continued support. You guys are the absolute best, and I will never take your support for granted.